What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the HASAN broadcast coming to you live from a gloomy, hazy day in California, Los Angeles. Folks, we're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic time because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday, June 9th, 2025. Are you going to go out again today? Potentially. I don't know. I don't know where things are happening, but if things are happening, we could potentially do that. More protests, dope. Yeah, I love protests. It's amazing. Protests are amazing because, as I said yesterday, it's a perfect expression of solidarity. It's the closest feeling to love, basically. Protest extraordinaire. Cinemarson says, you feeling more hopeful after yesterday? Yes, I am feeling more hopeful. I always feel more hopeful after doing the maximum grass touching, which is to go out to a rally or go out to a protest. Interviewing people like Mélenchon. Even interviewing people at the Japanese Communist Party, traveling internationally and talking to people, going to protests, going to rallies in other countries when you visit. This kind of stuff is a demonstration of solidarity. And the way I explain it, solidarity, I think, is a expression of love. It is, it's the closest to having this spontaneous, decentralized group of people, group of community members coming out to the streets to show their resentment and their anger. Though your solidarity is selective, you're not really in any danger. Come on, $, $sign. Though your solidarity is selective, it's not. I don't know why you're saying this, but I suspect it's because you're a piece of shit and you're going to, I don't know, find something to get mad about right now. Come on, I agree with most of your takes. Okay, explain what you mean. Where's my solidarity selective to? I live near LA and I want to get involved. I've never protested before. I don't really know how to join them. Could you give me some details, please? I mean, these things are usually very, they're oftentimes spontaneously organized. So when an event unfolds and people fucking get mad and require, require the community to show up and show out and either one, immediately try to engage in acts of disruption as ICE is conducting what I consider to be unlawful, illegal, and incredibly violent deportation initiatives by casting dragnets around places of business and like Paramount and whatnot, then people just show up. And then the next day there will be oftentimes PSL organized, Party for Socialism and Liberation organized event. That's what we went to yesterday. Did that guy actually follow up with what he was saying in terms of me being selective with my solidarity? Because I don't think there is anything he could find. Oh, they didn't. They just shut up. Okay, got it. Nice. First and foremost, yesterday, as you guys know, I went to the ICE out of LA protests that were put together by PSL. And there were some funny moments. There were some humorous moments. There were some scary moments. And part of the reason why I did that alongside March, by the way, shouts out to March for always being in tow, always by my side, ready to fucking let it rip. You know, we had some funny moments like this one, obviously, you know, soy facing at the protest, that sort of thing. But the reason why I did this, as I explained earlier this morning, is because just like with the UCLA student encampments, I wanted to give you guys a firsthand account of everything that was going on. A firsthand account of everything that was going on and my own personal experience and how I felt and did I feel unsafe and to show you, like, was it truly that chaotic? Or if it was chaotic, who was causing this chaos? Who was causing this commotion? Now, the reason why I did that, of course, is because we cover a lot of these protests. We cover a lot of these protests on a daily basis all around the planet. And sometimes we attend these protests ourselves. But like, I think it's important to show firsthand accounts on the ground directly, because I feel like it contradicts a lot of the testimony, or not testimony necessarily, but it contradicts a lot of the media coverage that you see about these protests, because the media coverage is short. It's short, piffy, quick, and hyper focuses on all of the high notes. Hyper focuses on all of the craziest aspects of the protest, right? And when you watch it from above, even if you're watching it in real time, you don't get a full assessment of like who is causing the harm, who is causing the chaos, who is causing the instability. The media oftentimes also takes a sensationalist approach. The mainstream media takes a sensationalist approach, even when they're being shot directly by the fucking cops. Like, this is a great example, right? Cop in this clip deliberately lines her up, shoots her, literally turns in her direction from behind. It's in broad daylight. It's on camera. This is a U.S. correspondent for 9 News Australia. Let's take a look at what happens. I want you to hyper focus on this corner of the screen here. I'm going to show you.
This situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
Look, this guy.
Oh! You just shut the fuck up.
You okay?
I'm good.
Now, why did I show you this? One, because it shows once again the depravity of American police brutality in broad daylight, in real time, in 4K, okay, or 1080p, whatever. But the other reason why I showed you this is because the role the media plays is so defensive of cops that 9 News Australia, whose correspondent just got shot by a cop in broad daylight with a less lethal that is not supposed to be aimed at a person, especially not supposed to be aimed at a person at that proximity, because it can be lethal at that proximity. This is how they covered it. U.S. correspondent Lauren Tomasi has been caught in the crossfire as the LAPD fired rubber bullets at protesters in the heart of Los Angeles. Dude, that's your own fucking reporter that just got shot. You're not even American. This is what I mean when I say the media, mainstream outlets, they have a primary responsibility to defend these institutions. They have to defend the police, even when they are the ones getting shot. It makes no sense. This guy literally directly from that proximity knew exactly who the fuck this person was. Like, as in, knew that this was a reporter, aimed at the reporter and shot her with a less lethal rubber bullet from a proximity that could be lethal. Even then, the media is using passive voice to describe it. Even then, when their own guys are getting shot, they still use passive voice because their primary function, the primary role that they serve, is to be in defense of institutions like the police. I showed you this because if you get your notes exclusively from mainstream outlets, you are going to lose a lot of nuance. You're going to lose a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. But like I said, the reason why I went down there and the reason why I will continue going into these things is to show you a different perspective, to show you a perspective from the side of the protesters, because you are not a cop. You are not a politician. You are a regular civilian. And one day there will be an issue. If you don't care about this one, there will be an issue that you do care about, so much so that you will go out and you will want to protest. And then you'll realize the power dynamic and the asymmetry of power. But yeah, as I was saying, my goal with the UCLA student encampments was to show you how different the reality on the ground was from the way the media was framing it. The LA protests are the same. It feels chaotic from afar, but the protesters are your neighbors. The threat is ICE. The threat is the police. And she goes, what's this right-wing broadcaster goes, what's the smoke in the background of your photo from? It's fucking tear gas. Ironically enough, this wasn't behind the Waymos. This is just tear gas that the cops had deployed. Why wear a mask? Please enlighten us. Oh my God, fucking blue check marks on Twitter. There's some of the dumbest people on the planet. Why am I wearing a mask? Because they're deploying tear gas, man. Do you think I'm wearing a mask to hide my identity? I'm 6'4". I'm wearing my own merchandise and I have fucking 80,000 people watching like on camera. I don't think I'm hiding my identity at all. You know what's really funny about it? At least in my estimations, one of the funniest things I always see, aside from like the people who first go from, you always just sit on your ass, you never go to a fucking protest, to, well, okay, you did go to a protest, but honestly, I hate that you went to the protest because you're a fucking terrorist. I hope they kill you at the protest. There's also my favorite type of person who's like, well, you know, gotta hand it to him. I guess he went to a protest one time, calm down. And it's like, dude, you say this every time. I go to protests literally nonstop. I go to rallies. I speak at rallies. I fucking fundraise for all the issues that I talk about. It's just, you have only fucking seen me through the lens of people who are not political at all and are just on the fuck HASAN tip. You dumbass. Stop watching those stupid fucking morons. And then there's this. Yo, don't mean to get you down, but I was a little disappointed yesterday when you didn't use your platform to tell people to join the protests. It felt like you were just doing protest tourism. You have so much opportunity to organize peacefully. Don't be afraid of getting arrested for a few days. Chat will wait for you, big dog. Take your permaban. That's it. Dumbass. That's why I'm there. What are you talking about? Oh my fucking Lord, dude. Some of you guys are so fucking stupid. Anytime somebody says, hey, can you check my last comment? It's actually really important. It's usually the dumbest thing I've ever encountered. There's never been a moment where I haven't fucking urged people to go out and protest. I always do. And if you're saying like, well, you didn't protest hard enough, like, what do you want me to do? Fucking blow up a Waymo on camera? Like, punch a cop? Like, what are you, stupid? Don't be afraid to get arrested. Asman says what you did was illegal. Citizenship removal. I know. Yeah, that's not how that works. When you look at this stuff from afar, even when I'm covering it, it looks super chaotic. From top-down images of cars being burnt and all of this crazy, tumultuous back and forth, right? But when you're there, you have a feeling of safety and security when you're around the people. And the only time when you feel unsafe is when you're around the cops. Yeah. People offering each other food, acts of solidarity, people offering each other water. There are field medics out there. The only sense of danger comes from people who are armed and also have no legal repercussions for using said less lethal arms on the civilians there, or even tear gassing an entire fucking crowd. And you have to remember, like, I know that the state has a monopoly on violence, right? As in, when the state engages in violent acts, that is seen as the norm. When you actually retaliate against that in self-defense, that's unacceptable. That's the real violence. That's what people hyper-focus on. But even before police brutality at these fucking protests, the first act that triggered the community to organize was literally a violent act that is supposed to be legally sanctioned. ICE raids at fucking Home Depot, ICE raids at Home Depot, and ICE raids being conducted in courthouses, basically openly admitting ICE raids happening at graduations, like at schools, where the federal government is openly admitting that they are not invested in finding criminals at all. They are actually there to fill a quota. These are human beings that are a part of our communities, okay? These are human beings that have been living here. These are human beings that are collaborating and cooperating with the federal law enforcement agencies, with the immigration authorities, and the price that they pay for said cooperation, for following the book, for literally doing everything right. They're used as pawns because Stephen Miller decided we have to get 3,000 people out of this country a day. And in an effort to deport 3,000 plus people a day, they also are shredding due process, constitutional protections that these people had, that we all are supposed to have. That is an incredibly violent act. That is unimaginably violent. That is so much more violent than burning a fucking Waymo, which, for the record, is not productive. I understand that. I'm not like sitting here and being like, I'm glad that they burned the Waymos. I'm just saying I don't give a fuck about the Waymos, because at the end of the day, what I was trying to describe to Mason when we were sitting in front of the burning Waymos and we were talking about this was that we care about property damage because property damage ends up harming someone's bottom line. It ends up hurting someone's financial situation, and therefore it ends up hurting their lives, right? Like maybe it was someone's rental property or something, and that's their nest egg. right? It's easy to say like, oh, who gives a fuck? Fuck those people, right? And I understand if you are not invested in anything. But what a lot of people fail to consider is why you hate property damage. The reason why you hate property damage is because human beings are hurt at the end of the property damage. You don't actually defend property for the sake of property. You are saying property damage is bad because it hurts people. So ultimately, if that is your driving force behind like getting angry at property damage, then you should be extra mad about the human beings that are being ripped away from their families.
So we've been, obviously the big narratives that we're going to see tomorrow is like people saying that everyone's coming here to do just this. And when there's unrest and when there's unjust institutions, stuff like this is going to happen. Yeah. But how would you kind of quell the fears of people who support the cause but see this and start to get second thoughts?
I mean, it's property damage at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Look, we're right here. We're not doing anything, and I don't feel like I'm under threat. I'll tell you when I feel like I'm under threat. When the fucking cops are tear gassing us, when we're on the side of the road, even when we're not even on the road, you know? That's like, property damage at the end of the day is only consequential because it hurts humans, right? It hurts, It hurts people's profit margins and therefore potentially their bottom line and therefore their livelihoods. But a lot of people worry about property damage for the sake of property damage in themselves. This is to say like this is, you know, all great, but but at the end of the day, it's not like a terrifying situation at all. Seeing it on television obviously feels a lot different than just like being right here. When you're right here, you realize it's nothing to be that fearful of. And ultimately, what is far more consequential and far more dangerous is the fact that ICE is unjustifiably kidnapping people, doing dragnets in neighborhoods, lying about how migrants are criminals, rapists, and then going after children and women and working families and people that are just at their job sites.
Yeah, I mean,
that's far more important to focus on than a bunch of people fucking, you know, breaking a Waymo. Like, I don't give a shit. Fuck Waymos.
Do we really have to baby talk to liberals like that? Yeah, I mean, I think so. But even then, there are plenty of people who refuse to hear what I have to say. I think like XQC was live responding to it, and his fucking chat was eating his ass alive in the process. I saw something that he was saying, like, he's like, dude, what if they burned his Porsche, dude? What if they burned his fucking Porsche, dude? Then he wouldn't say it's inconsequential, dude. And it's like, it's so incredibly fucking stupid. But I think there was a decent amount of pushback from his own community for this, so that's good. I'm glad that the juicers are on the right side of history. At least enough of them are. And they basically realized that like, he's doing the fucking right-wing heel turn that he's been entertaining for a while. But basically, like, he immediately goes, oh, dude, you wouldn't have the same feeling if this was... you wouldn't have the same feeling if this was your own car. It's like, first of all, yes, you're right. There is a difference. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course. But secondly, even if someone were to burn my fucking leased car, like, I still have insurance. If the alternative is like someone burns randomly my leased car, but in the process, that person doesn't go out and, like, I don't know, kidnap someone, then yeah, that's a far more preferable outcome. That's what I'm saying. It's not nice. It's not great. It's fucking awful. Like, it's such a stupid fucking take.
It hurts people's profit margins and therefore potentially their bottom line and therefore their livelihoods. But a lot of people worry about property damage for the sake of property damage in themselves. This is to say, like, this is, you know.
The worst part about this also is that he doesn't understand the point I'm making. Not only is it a false equivalence, but also I'm not saying like this is good, this is great. I really love that they're burning Waymos. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm simply saying is the reason why people care about property damage is because it hurts people. Like, that's the reason why you're supposed to care about property damage, because somewhere along the way, there is a person, a human being, whose livelihood might be potentially harmed by this. And that person didn't deserve it, right? Like a storefront owner, a small business owner that has their fucking storefront smashed and has their inventory stolen, right? Like, that person didn't deserve it. I'm not saying that they deserve it, But the reason why you care about that is because that's an innocent person whose livelihood was harmed. And if you care about the livelihood of innocent people to that degree, then you should absolutely care about the much more consequential, unjustifiable actions by fucking ICE, the federal government. Because what do you think happens to poor people that are simply trying to work, that are collaborating and cooperating with the immigration enforcement authorities, and for the false belief, the naivete that they have that this system is supposed to be lawful, they get treated like numbers on a board in order to prove a political point. They get fucking arrested at court hearings, at immigration court, when they are in the process, of like following through their asylum application, when they're at their school graduations. What good does that do to this country? It actually only has downsides, no upsides whatsoever. That's my point. My point is, if you care about a fucking Waymo being burned, you should care about immigrants being burned, okay? Immigrants being shipped off to a CCOP facility with no fucking due process. That's infinitely more consequential to human lives. That's it. Like, reorient your priority. Now, getting back to like Waymos in particular, it's as close as you can get to a fucking victimless crime, okay? You are impacting the bottom line of a faceless, lifeless Silicon Valley corporation. It's not good, but the reason why it's not good is not because like you're hurting fucking Waymo's feelings. It's not good because it's dangerous. It's very dangerous to fucking light an electric battery operated car on fire in the middle of a fucking crowded area, because a lot of people are inhaling those toxic fumes and it could potentially explode. Okay? EV fires are dangerous as fuck. That is the real danger. The libtards are not helping their cause from a guy who does not care about the cause and is simply using it to farm some clicks. Toenail eater guy famous for never showing up to events, and the tooth blood wall guy famous for never leaving his biohazard house have some thoughts on how to effectively protest law. This isn't a third world country. This is Los Angeles. But once again, if you have this kind of energy for Waymos, it's like, it almost comes across like XQC cares more, like XQC would be more mad if ICE agents were actually fucking deporting Waymos instead of immigrants. God forbid ICE agents would deport or harm capital. That would be way scarier than the actual human beings. Like, you have to understand, you can only arrive at this conclusion if you kind of feel like all of the undocumented migrants, or even documented migrants that are going through the application process, for example, they kind of deserve to be deported. They kind of deserve to be removed from this country's borders. Now, XQC himself is a fucking immigrant, so it makes it even funnier for him to have this dumbass fucking take. He's literally Canadian. And the people that they are ripping away from their fucking families and their communities are infinitely more productive members of society, okay? XQC does not know how to fucking put a drywall together in a matter of days. In the same way that the Latino dude that's like sitting outside of Home Depot that's getting fucking removed from the United States of America borders does, all right? Those motherfuckers are picking crops. They're fucking working. They're incredibly hardworking people, and they get fucked over. They should be getting paid more. They should be getting their proper documentation from the government, not being removed after spending years on U.S. soil as tax-paying citizens.